Hello and welcome to the MHG podcast. As usual, the world can be a miserable and dark place. More so than usual, actually, this recent week or so. So we're here to bring you some light, bring you some joy, and a bit of an escape. So once again, hi Bradley. I'm joined by Stu. How you doing, Stu?
Not too bad at all, because this week I've been on holiday from work, which is very, very nice. It shouldn't have to be a big thing that you build up to and then you're like, oh, thank Christ I've escaped. But it's been that way recently. So, yeah, it's just been great not being there and just being able to chill out.
Yeah, definitely. I've been on holiday for the past 18 months, technically.
True.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sponging off the government.
Yeah, you're the one taking all my tax dollars. That's how it works, isn't it?
I am, yeah. I am taking all your tax
Terrible.
dollars. Talking of dollars, I assumed... Right, have you seen the latest attack by one Donald J. Trump on the trans community?
No, I've not.
So he's basically done a speech that basically wants to commit genocide on trans people. And that's part of his like campaigning to get back to being like president of the United States. He basically wants to end trans people. Now I saw the video. My assumption was it was a deep fake because it was that out there. It had to be a deep fake. Apparently not. It's a real arse damn video of Donald Trump basically calling for genocide as a campaign tool. And it's just like, oh dear.
Oh, my God.
I often sometimes wonder, go sort of like non-binary. I don't always feel part of the community. For sometimes I don't have the right to weigh in on some of the subject of trans people, to which I have been told, no, that's utter bollocks. You're non-binary, you are part of that community, and it's just it's why I could never take that next step. I've said before, plenty of other reasons, but are people honestly not seeing that we're headed towards another Holocaust? The way things are going, are we not seeing that?
Well, it shows you the slippery slope, doesn't it? It shows you how it happens. And people go, oh, well, in Germany before the war, why weren't people standing up, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, the answer is that people were getting about their daily lives and they were voting against, Hitler's government and just all the usual. But you only need a small amount of people to get into power to drive these things forward. And that's what's happened here. It's just awful.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to say it like this because it's good. I don't want it to sound like I'm trivialising it, but I don't want to bang on about it every week because it's not fair on those that are after just the escape. So I just wanted to mention it because it's utterly ridiculous. But I am going to double transition. Hang on, that's not a bad segue. I'm going to double segue. Sorry, this week because. Talking of utter abhorrent things, video games can be utterly abhorrent, Stu.
They can.
For many different reasons, they can. Activision are scum, Ubisoft are scum, we know that. Square Enix, and they are, okay, maybe they're not abusing their staff and stuff like that. But don't buy Square Enix live service games because you're never going to get the full game or the full experience because it was 4 games, I think, maybe 5 Square Enix games that have been shuttered within 2 years of being released.
I know, crazy. There's people who've poured a load of money into them and not see any of that back.
Don't get me wrong, I've not played any of them, right? Couldn't care less about them,
God,
like from a personal point of view. But Marvel's Avengers, people actually genuinely enjoy that game. I don't know why, but people genuinely enjoy it. There's that one person who genuinely enjoys Babylon's Fall because of that one person remaining playing it on the Steam stats and everything. So that person really enjoys it. And they shut it down because it's not making them all the money in the world. And it's just ridiculous. But then this is Square Enix, who decided 4 million plus copies sold of Tomb Raider wasn't enough. Countless other games that haven't sold enough. It's just little tip. If you want a game that has got a live service or has an ongoing multiplayer type element to it, make sure it's got a single player element, so at least you can continue playing the game when it's dead.
Yeah.
Because, I can't play Blur online at the moment, but at least it's got somewhat of a single player campaign, so I can play that.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not the most fun part of the game, because it was the most fun part of that game was running, driving around, trying to blow up your mates and stuff like that online. But yeah, shocking. Don't support this rubbish. Honestly, unless a game's got a single player component, don't buy it. Especially if it's from Square. That's all I can say. Really.
I completely agree. Yeah.
But talking of Square Enix, do you know what else isn't always Square Enix?
I've no idea. Go on.
Video games, Stu.
Video games. Yeah. Them things.
So which video game have you been playing that Square has shut down? Tell me.
None of them, because I wouldn't touch them. I will probably get the new Final Fantasy game, but again, single player, one-off payment. I would never buy into any live service stuff of any type, I don't think. But so I've been playing something that's like the polar opposite of all of that caper. I've been playing Mega Man X, which is 30 years old at this point and has got no DLC and is just an arcade game. And
Mighty Number 9, did you say? What?
I know, right? But I actually, ironically enough, I bought that as well this week because I want to try it out. It was like £2.50 and I thought, for that I'm going to give it a go. But
and you know what? At least it's a game you can play. For all
right.
its faults, you can play it even though it's been abandoned.
Correct.
Has it been abandoned? I don't know. I'm assuming it's been abandoned.
Well, I mean, single player anyway, so I don't think they were ever adding anything to the main quest. So, that's fine. But Mega Man X is. I've not played very many Mega Man games, and it's really good so far. I say so far. I'm near the end. It's one of the best things is obviously getting the weapons from the bosses when you beat them. That's a timeless thing. That's always satisfying. And what I think is new is to this game over the older games from that point, because they're all ancient now, is that you can have a special move for each one as well. So say you get the ice power, there's the special move, the regular move where you fire it and it freezes stuff, obviously, and the special move where it creates a little floating ice kind of platform that you can use to access certain areas. And there are lots of hidden secrets, armor upgrades, all of that sort of stuff. And the level design is excellent. It's the best level design in a platformer of that type that I've played in quite some time, and I play a lot of these things. So very, very impressed with that. Graphics are absolutely gorgeous. It was a SNES game originally. Really, really nice. Gets a little bit of slowdown when there's a lot of enemies on screen, but you can forgive that. And bright, colourful, goes in with an objective and smashes that objective out of the park. You'd never know that it was just a game on a console that was limited by the amount of colours, because it's so colourful. The cartoony graphics are just beautifully rendered and hand drawn, and I'm not going to stand here and go, it's a 10 out of 10 game, because it's not. But because there are really annoying bits that are very much part of games of that era that are thrown in there to be a complete grind to get through, so you don't just complete it in 45 minutes first time you play. And one of the things is there's a boss rush at the end, and me, absolutely can't stand boss rushes. I can't say boss rushes. No, they're hideous. No, I can't. Effort. I know, they're an absolute nightmare, and I find them. It's worth going off on a tangent to talk about boss rushes, because it's worth talking about why they're crap. And the reason they're crap is because they're very tiring, mentally tiring, because they're not new, because you've experienced this thing in the game before. It's all stuff that you've seen. It's normally just artificially padding things out so they can reuse scenes and characters and stuff like that. And also, they're tiring because they're difficult. And even when you play them late game when you're powered up, most of the time they're still quite hard. So they're old, they're boring, and they're unnecessary. And it's the sort of thing that stopped me like playing, for example, Beautiful Joe a second time, because I played it through, absolutely loved it, happy to put it in my top 100 games of all time. Then I got to the boss rush bit at the end, and I was like, no, this drops down several marks in my estimation. Anyway, apart from that, really cracking game, very much enjoying it, and yeah, great stuff.
Cool. So on the boss rush thing with Mega Man X and Beautiful Joe, actually, let's circle round, because people know what Mega Man is and they know how quality a series it actually is. So I've not got any questions. I've played some Mega Man in my time, not very good at it, but you know, we know Mega Man. The boss rush mode, then, is it optional or is it part of the main game?
What, in Beautiful Joe?
No, in Mega Man.
No, it's just part of the game. It's just part of the game.
That's that's what I consider disappointing, because I'm all for options. Any game that's a platformer has bosses, anything, etc., etc. Do you know what? As an added extra, do a boss rush mode that you can unlock once you finish the game as a bonus. Because I don't like it, you don't like it, but there are people who love the old boss rush. Okay, they love it. So have it there, but not as part of the main game. Because yeah, you're right. That's not the game you're playing, and it feels like it's artificially added at the end. Artificially add it as another mode, like your daily challenge. I mean, you wouldn't put Spelunky out there and go, you can only play the daily mode, or as part of it, you've got to do a daily run as part of your main run, or anything like that. You wouldn't do it. So yeah, I'm all for this stuff being there because choice, but not as the main part. Is it the same with Beautiful Joe? Is it part of the main game, or is it a lot extra?
Yeah, it's part of the main game. Yeah, no. I've got no problem with boss rush modes at all. But yeah, no, because they're completely different. They're just, you go in, you pick it separately, and you fight the bosses in sequence. Whereas this is, you play the game, you do all the levels, you fight the bosses, you beat them, you do it again, you do another level, you fight a boss, you beat them, you carry on, then you get to the end, and then you have to fight all them bosses again. And that's the problem. But yeah, so it doesn't really happen nowadays, but when it does, it gets very annoying.
No, I think the only one I can really think of, and it is a boss rush game, I suppose, is Cuphead. But even that's structured with bits in between.
Yeah, well, games that are just bosses, because there are games that are just pretty much bosses. That's fine if that's what you want to play. You know, I don't think that has a boss rush, does it? Where you fight all of the bosses in sequence at the end. I think it's got a separate boss rush.
I didn't get past the first level.
No,
so,
I didn't get far. I didn't get far with that. Honestly, found that trying to wrap my head around how that game played, I just couldn't do it, because I tried it with the pad, and I was like, it must be because it's a pad that I'm so crap at this. So I tried it with a joystick, and it was unplayable with a joystick. It's designed around having an analog stick. So I was like, nope, just noped out of there, because it was like, no, can't do it, and I don't enjoy it enough to do it. The guns aren't good enough in Cuphead for me. I just didn't enjoy any of the weapons. I didn't think they were very well designed or exciting, and it was all about just pummeling over and over and over again. So yeah, didn't really click with me at all.
But it's so beautiful that I want to like it.
I want to like it, yeah.
It's like, it's one of those I can't get my head around. Right? Sonic and Mario became big because they were great looking games at the time. Their 2D versions are still some of the best looking games ever made, and they're iconic, but they was accessible. Okay, so they spawned TV shows, comics, toys, movies, the lot. Cuphead has all the elements that Sonic and Mario have, and it's spawned in TV series, comics, toys, etc., etc. But it's the least accessible game I think I've ever bloody played.
Yeah.
How many people? Am I just that bad at games now? Because how many people are playing that and going, do you know what I really want from this game now? A TV series. Because are there kids who are like 5 years old sitting there playing Cuphead going, yeah, this is easy. Am I that out of touch now?
I can't answer that, because you might be, but if you are, I am, and I probably am.
Children who are wrong.
Yeah. I don't think there's any kids playing Cuphead. There might be some who've picked it up because they've seen the Netflix show, but I can't imagine it really appealing to them.
If anyone knows the answer to this, how has Cuphead become popular across media? Because I don't get it. And it's not because of the game. I get it. Structurally, it's brilliant. You know, the mechanics are brilliant. The visuals are brilliant. Everything about it is brilliant. But not enough people could have played it properly.
No, I just think it's purely because it's lovely looking, and they've just gone, oh, we've got to have a bit of that. Do you know what I mean? It's very strange. I don't really understand, on a tangent to this, why there isn't a Eco Shadow of the Colossus Last Guardian cinematic universe, because that would lend itself really well to that. It's got a history and a lore buried in there that you could explore. It's got a lovely look to it. I think you could make something a really good TV. We'll have to do a whole section on what games should be made into TV shows.
Yeah, we could do. Because apparently, I'm waiting till it's all out. Apparently, The Last of Us is really good.
Yeah, I saw the first episode and it is good. Yeah.
I've not watched any of it yet, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers. I don't know why I'm trying to avoid spoilers, because I've completed the first game.
Well, it's very different. It's not different, but
does it Walking Dead it a bit, where it's, you know, there's bits from the source material, but it then goes, we'll do our own thing.
I have only seen the first one. It's too early to say, but what it's done, if very mild spoiler. No, I can't really.
Is it a spoiler?
I can't,
wait, before you do it, is it a spoiler if I've played the game, or if I've played the game, I'm safe?
If you've played the game, you're safe. But
right. Spoilers for everyone else.
Yeah.
Still sort out the when you can come back in bit.
Yeah. So this is incredibly mild, but what it does is, you know, at the beginning of the game, everything kicks off, and something very, very major happens.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes forward in time, and Joel is leading a new life with a different set of people and values, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What it does is, instead of making that jump, it carries on. Well, it still makes a jump, but it carries on and fills in his life between the early days when something happens and when he meets Ellie. So it fills in that gap. That's what it's done, and it's really good because it really fleshes out the world and how the world works. Okay. Yeah, it's really well done.
Actually, in saying that, I suppose that works in TV, actually, thinking about it. My first reaction was really, because I went from... I remember playing it, and I cried. And I can't believe I cried at it, because the game, it was only, 20 minutes, half hour in? That happens?
Oh, yeah. You get 15 minutes.
I cried. Maybe. I bawled my bloody eyes out. I was like, oh. And then you get that moment of hope, because it goes to a scene where you're going, oh, maybe... And then those hopes are dashed. But anyway, and that was very poignant. But yeah, you're right. You can't fill that in a video game, because I think the last thing you want after that scene is another 20 minutes of exposition.
Yes. Yeah.
And in a game that wouldn't work. So kudos to the creators there of realising what works in a video game won't always work on TV, but you get extra rope on the TV to do these things.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So working well so far. Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to watching that. Welcome back, by the way. Anyone who had to skip that bit. I don't think we actually spoiled it, but hey.
I think we've probably...
It's up to you now. Do you want to go back and listen? Because I don't think we spoiled it, but we might have. Who knows?
I don't know.
But yeah, I've managed to convince Lo's going to watch it as well, and she's never played the game.
Yeah.
So
well, Mel wanted to see it. I wasn't that fussed, but Mel actually asked. Yeah, Mel actually asked. So I went ahead.
It's got LGBTQ stuff in it. I don't want to watch that on my TV. Ugh.
Oh no, I stand with Donald J. Trump. No, I really don't.
I'm just going to cut that. I'm going to find someone to cut that, and they're going to just put that everywhere you post on the internet. Just you going, I stand with Donald J. Trump. Ugh. I don't know what a Donald J. Words. Anyway, where was we? How did we get to The Last of Us? TV. Oh, Cuphead. TV.
Via boss rush mode. Yeah.
Don't get it. I'm glad it is, because it shows that there's always crossover opportunities, and if you do it right, then you can create something. Just don't force it, because I don't think Cuphead was forced into being this stuff. If this was someone's plan from the very beginning, then fair bloody play to them. But when something naturally gets popular like that, that's brilliant. Don't try and force it like your iconic Aiden, whatever his name was from Watch Dogs, with his iconic hat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Anyway, moving on. From one beautiful looking game to another. I've been playing, I didn't realise this has been out for a while, but it's been out longer than I thought, since 2021, I believe. But I've been playing Jett, The Far Shore, plus the Given Time expansion, possibly, new campaign, whatever it is, which has just released on Steam. I don't know what other platforms it might be on, but apparently it's on other platforms. I don't know. I'm really confused. It's the first time I've played it. Now, again, I've managed to pick another game where I want to say as little as I can, because it's all about the discovery that you have. So, yeah, it's time for Brad Does Cryptic discussion on video games again.
My favourite segment.
Yeah. So basically what you've got here, it's from Super Brothers, who, if you're into your indies, you know your indies, made Sword and Sorcery EP, which was a beautiful 2D adventure game with a narrative that really hit home, but was told in such a way that, again, it was about the discovery, and it's if you've never played it, play it. But this is a bit of a departure for them, because instead of being really easy to, like, 2D looking type thing where they could, like, work that really well, they've gone full 3D open-ish world of loads of different environments, and you basically play a character, and you're piloting this jet. Amazingly, that's like kind of like it skims the ground. The way it flies is it kind of like it skims the ground, sort of. It's not like a hovercraft low level, but it's fairly low level stuff. Low flying, probably what they say, isn't it?
That's what they say. Yeah.
Yes, well done. And basically, you kind of like explore, and find things, and you get these like moments that happen in the game. It's at times it's like really casual and relaxing and laid back, and then at other times stuff just happens, and it's like, oh my god, what's going on? And you're like, my gee, yeah, okay, that came out of nowhere. And it's both warm and comforting, and then there's elements in there of just pure and utter, what's the word? Not exposition, existential dread in there as well. And it's just like it mixes all these things up throughout the game. And it's just like, I can't describe it. I can't describe what this game is meant to be, because it's not like anything I've ever played before. It is a walking sim, but it's not a walking sim at the same time. It's like, in some ways, it's like someone took No Man's Sky, and instead of going overboard with what they were promising to deliver, they just like screwed it up into a ball really tightly and just went, look, here's all the good elements of No Man's Sky, and we just put it into a little tiny fraction of that. And it just works so well. And it's backed up by amazing music. So the visuals are really nice. They're kind of low poly, but not low poly at the same time. Kind of a pastel. Yeah, it's kind of not very saturated, but there's loads of colour at the same time. Again, you've got to look at it. Very hard for ADHD autistic person here to get that out, to explain that properly. But it's got also amazing music. Oh my god, the soundtrack is amazing. It's like you want to be in this world. You're just like there. There's like first person sequences in there as well, so it's not just flying your ship around. You then get to have conversations with people. You get given some missions to do, and you kind of follow those. And there's a reason behind why you need to do it. There's, like I say, it's really relaxing, but there's these moments of like really fast-paced chases and stuff like that that go on because there's otherworldly creatures that sometimes appear, but they're not so common that it becomes like an actual gameplay mechanic. They come out of nowhere, but they also feel like they belong at the right times as well. It's, oh my God, what an absolute experience this game is. And yeah, I just play it, get it, enjoy it, soak it in because it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
So you like that one then?
Yeah. I've been spoiled the start of this year. I really have.
Yeah.
Because it's not even my favourite game of the week.
Wow. Well, this wasn't on my radar whatsoever. I've never even heard of this, but it looks absolutely fantastic. It just describes it as an action adventure with immersive sim elements, but yeah, it looks gorgeous. I might have to buy this.
Yes. So, word of warning at the moment, it run like an absolute piece of crap on the Steam Deck.
Okay.
But, the developers are working to get it working properly on the Steam Deck. And they've said, I believe, they've found solutions which should also improve overall performance and optimization for the main game as a whole anyway across all systems.
Right.
So Steam Deck doing wonders for video games as people are finding solutions.
Nice.
For what's it called, where you try and make things work in different levels.
Optimizations? Challenges?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah, let's say
One
optimizations.
Yeah.
Not scrolling. What do they do with Doom? It's Doom. Like, Doom works really high level and low level. What's that?
Scalability?
Scaling!
Yeah.
Scalability, yes.
Right.
So, yeah, fingers crossed that all comes together. So, if you're a Steam Deck exclusive, I possibly would wait. But also, you know, this should go out in time. Basically, it's released at 40% off on Steam as well. So, instead of being 25 quid, which is totally worth it, you can get it for 15. So, but that, well, you've probably got like a day or 2 days by the time this has gone out. And if you're listening to this late, you're paying 25 quid.
Yeah.
But worth it. I've had to play this big screen. I've not finished it by any stretch of the imagination because I'm now waiting because I wanted to play it headphones on the Steam Deck and make it a really personal experience. But, oh, yeah, it's brilliant. Super Brothers have done it again, essentially.
Awesome. Yeah, it's £14.99, that is, until the 7th of February. So, yeah, there you go. That's Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah.
So this will be out on the Saturday, all being well. So if you're listening to this day one, you've got a couple of days. So thank me later.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right, have you got another one, Stu? Because I need to reel myself back here before I go again.
Yeah. Well, I have. It's sort of a general interesting-y kind of experience / gaming thing. So what I did this week was what I do generally is I occasionally browse eBay for monitors because that's just the kind of gimp I am. I am very gimpy. I have no problem with this. I am.
What, mask and everything?
Yeah. Well, not necessarily the mask, but I am just a bit of a prat, you know, a bit of, you know, into my own stuff a little bit too much. And sometimes, you know, I get really immersed in it. And I keep my eye out on monitors. And the reason why CRT monitors I'm talking about, obviously, and the reason why you have to keep your eye out is because they are often overpriced. But the biggest thing is that they don't get shipped by people very often. It's secondhand. They get on eBay. They're too they're too fragile, so they tend to be collection only. And I was just scrolling through, and bizarrely, I found one in my neighbourhood, and I was like, "Oh God, right, that's good." And so it was like a buy it now of £100, but it was starting bid of 50, and I was like, "That's dirt cheap. I might get lucky here." So I won it for £50, which is if anyone
Nice.
knows, getting hold of a CRT monitor, not a TV, getting hold of them for that money these days is practically impossible. So I was really chuffed with that. Anyway, so I went to collect
I
it.
bet the seller would.
Yeah, probably not. He didn't. Yeah, if he didn't show it. He was very, very chatty, but we'll get to that. So I went to pick it up. It was only like a few miles away, not far at all, just across town, and near where my mum lives, funnily enough. And yeah, he went to the door, knocked on the door. He's there, really chatty. Lets me in. Go past his little toddler, give the toddler a little wave, like fairly compact little house.
Does this story end up with him throwing in a child with your purchase?
Well, they go for a lot on the secondary market, so I could have made some cash there, but unfortunately not. So out of pocket still. But so he goes, yeah, come on, it's out here, out the back. So we go out the back, and he's got a separate shed, and we go into the shed, and the shed thing, which is better than a shed, is the same size as the downstairs of his house, if not maybe a tiny little bit bigger, and it is full of monitors and consoles and sticks and everything. So he's got, like, I would say a conservative estimate, there were about 30 monitors, all in dedicated like wall mount, not mounts, but shelving, like proper hardwood shelving. Really spent loads of money on it. Everything from tiny little PVMs, which are like professional video monitor, like that they use for like CCTV back in the day, which are pin sharp, from little ones of about 8 inches right up to 32-inch monster CRTs. He's got a couple in Tate mode, rotated into portrait mode, so you can play old arcade games that were in that mode. 32-inch screens done like that. He's got monitors of every type, and attached to these monitors, well, not all of them, because he picks a lot up for sale, directly for sale after reconditioning. And he's got just like tons of consoles, tons and tons of games, hundreds if not 1,000 games on the wall in shelving. And he's got arcade sticks attached up, which always makes me happy. And yeah, it's the first, like, my mate Mike, who's into games as much as us, has got like a man cave full of stuff and thousands of games. But it's just like one little room of his house, and I've got a few bits and pieces, obviously, some good retro stuff. But this guy takes it to a new level, and I've never been into a room like that before, really. Computer museums would probably be a bit jealous, like quite jealous, just of the monitors, because all sorts from all over the ages, all sorts of stuff I'd never even clapped eyes on before. So it was quite an experience. Because you never think, oh, there's somebody else as into games as me who lives that close who could be featured in a magazine or something, because of all the stuff they've got. So yeah, that was really interesting, actually.
Yeah, it's I love it when I love that there's people like that out there.
Yeah,
it's my favourite thing about this world sometimes, that there are people like that.
Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, it's funny. You always think, well, I hope it doesn't impact on their lives, because I mean, I have to think very, very hard. Let me get it straight. My wife's absolutely brilliant about my hobby. Like, she doesn't give a monkeys what to spend my money on whatsoever, and she's happy that I enjoy it and all of that. I never put us in any financial risk, because I'm just not that kind of a person anyway.
And you don't have kids.
And I don't have kids, which helps. So she knows that if I overspend, I'll have to go on the streets to make the money back, all that kind of thing. But I'm very, very careful with what I pick. I've only got like one shelf full of old stuff, really, and a couple of extra bits. And okay, all right, I've spread across half a room, but that could be a lot worse.
I've got an entire secret house.
Yeah.
It's fine.
A different family to run the house and all sorts. No, but no, I mean, it's mostly stuff. But to see all of that concentrated in one area, particularly focused on TVs and monitors. Old CRTs. It's quite amazing. He did, of course, also have massive, great big telly as well, like a couple of really massive flat screen, regular stuff, modern stuff. So yeah, he's really into it and really sells it. So yeah, that was fascinating. The only problem now is I know he's got a 21-inch Sony CRT monitor that's a lot more expensive than the one I bought, and I'm like, oh, can I get it? Oh, I want to get it. Let me get it.
He's actually got it for sale.
For sale, yeah.
Oh,
I know.
Put in a bit of overtime, Stu.
I know. I can't. I could do. But yeah, no, I might have to get that. I might have to get it.
Fair enough. Yeah, no. It's, I wish I had the room and the time and the money for that, so I could force my kids to play the stuff that I went was good back in the day. Stop playing all your U games. You got to start at the bottom.
Yeah. Well,
you really enjoy Pong.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you see, I've got it for. I mean, I've been playing my PC through it, a Final Burn Alpha, which is a really good emulator particularly for Capcom games, but it does a load of others as well from back in the day, and it's the closest to playing them in the arcade that you can get without buying an arcade cabinet. Because it's got the perfect. It fits the screen perfectly for the right aspect ratio, and because it's CRT, it's got perfect blacks, and you don't have to buy an OLED. So instead of spending $1,000 and getting an OLED that looks great, you're spending 50 quid and getting that level of kind of sharpness and beauty for your arcade machine. And so it works out as a really good value proposition if you're into that kind of stuff.
Few bits of MDF there.
Yeah,
a decent dual arcade stick, hook it all up, and create a homemade arcade machine. There you go.
Absolutely. But
sorry, Mel.
yeah, you put the idea in my head now. But so the main thing I'm going to do it for is for playing my consoles through it as well. But I bought an adapter to do that. But I need another adapter on top of that to play it through my OSSC upscaler. So I've ordered that and I'm waiting for it, and it's one of those where I'm chewing my nails every single day until it arrives. But it's all good stuff. It's nice.
Excellent. I love listening to that stuff and sort of like your experiences with all the retro and that, because it's stuff I can't do. Money, 2, family commitments, 3, just talent. I don't have the time and the space, the talent to even start collecting properly, and ADHD, I'll get right into it, overspend, get bored after a while, and then sell it all, because I've done that before.
Yeah, I know. Well, I kind of do things like that, but what I try and do these days is just have one of each thing. So if it's a unique thing that I genuinely want to use, I don't mind having it, and if I find myself not using it, I sell it. So now I have to I will shift on my TV that I've been using, my CRT TV, so I won't just mothball that and keep.
You kind of offset it,
the
cost as well that way.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's more for space, because space is the premium. Because these things aren't they don't cost crazy money. I mean, they cost enough money, but when you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do drugs, you don't go out anywhere that costs a lot of money, you're not eating expensive meals, you don't have kids, you don't have an expensive car to run, you're not paying a mortgage, all of these are me. I can afford to chuck money at this stuff now and again. So it is space that's the killer. But yeah, it's if you have the space, it's a nice thing to do. Yeah,
if you haven't got the space and you want to sell it all, still buy it.
Probably don't because people will offer, and I'll be like, oh, bloody hell. Now I'm living in a tent in the garden while the house is full of crap.
I want it.
Yeah.
That's why I really like the all-in-one setup. So I've got my full all-in-one setup on my PC, which I can hook up to the big TV if I need to, or play on the monitor. I've got my vertical handheld and my wide handheld, my VetroPocket 3 and my RG353V. I've got a Vita because it's still amazing. I don't care what anyone says, and it's the best way to play PSP games. I've got the 2DS as well, because, again, emulated is fine on those, but it was designed around the original hardware, and it's always a bulked experience to a degree. to play that emulated. Doable, playable, not ideal. And obviously I've got the Steam Deck, and I can play everything pretty much bar light gun games, I would say, because that's the one thing I've not brave trying to do yet, is spend the money to buy a light gun setup that will work on a 4K TV.
Yeah.
But that'll happen one day, I'm sure, as it becomes maybe a bit more popular, hopefully, or one of the Sega companies or Sega or someone like Sega releases a new light gun game with a proper 4K light gun.
Yeah, it's it just needs one person to bother, one company to bother, and because
maybe someone like a Sega,
yeah,
you know, the people that made, you know, the Sega games, someone like that could do it.
Yeah, once they've done it and everyone can copy the technology, it'll be everywhere. So that would be nice. Yeah. But
Anyway,
there's a lot
moving on.
Yeah. Sorry, you have to.
No,
stop
go on.
me
You speak because I don't get.
Well, I could go on forever, but just a quick one. It's that thing that, like you said about when you do something for like Jett, you know, to optimize it for other systems, or you optimize it for one system and it benefits everybody. And there's technology advances that do that. So about retro gaming, and I don't like calling it retro gaming. To me, it's just gaming. It's like, I wouldn't call old films retro films. I don't like calling them old films. They're just films. Do you know what I mean?
That's your olden time. It still reminds me when Lucas turned around and went, "Oh, I'm not watching that olden time film," when we tried to get him to watch Snatch.
Oh my God, what's that? 25 years old, I guess.
Yeah, I think I spoke about this before, but it's the equivalent of me looking at something that was released like in the 60s when I was his age and stuff like that, and going, "It's a well old film."
Yeah,
because it was to me.
Yeah, I know, and I suppose it might partly be because so much of the modern world is absent from those films. It's really hard to relate to them. But yeah. But I mean, that's a whole other conversation. I'm rattling on enough. But what I was going to say was, just on the technology side of things, is that it creeps forward so that these things become more and more playable. Because what you don't want is anything to become obsolete, especially because arcade games don't, like, straightforward arcade games don't age. Like, they don't become boring and crap. And it's fine when it's a Pac-Man and they just keep re-releasing like both new versions and the availability of classics, but stuff, you know, like Ninja Batman or The Punisher by Capcom, or, you know, any of the things that are not available anymore, you want to be able to play them properly, and old console games and stuff like the OSSC that I have, you know, that allows you to play old consoles on new TV hardware. There's loads of stuff like that being developed, and I'm looking forward to seeing more stuff in AI, like upscaling. So like the equivalent of DLSS, but for retro games, that would be good. I would love to see an AI generator that could turn a 16:9 image into a 4:3 image, so that when you're playing an older but widescreen only game, that it could intelligently crop it without it squishing the screen. Because there's a use case for that as well. Not a big one, but there are ones.
You get some good widescreen hacks, so surely someone could make a good 4:3 hack.
Well, it's a lot harder to reverse engineer it.
No, it's not.
Sorry, I got that completely wrong. You're right.
I want that to happen, so it's easy. Just crop it and move all the elements. It won't affect the game at all.
No, of course it won't. But no, but all of this stuff is great. You know, your ultimate aim is that you want it so easy that you can just stick anything that you've ever wanted to play on something and it will work without you having to jump through hoops. Because what happens if things fall out of favour and out of common circulation, you get a situation where, like, you know, you were talking about there with Lucas, that where kids don't want to watch older films, for example, or listen to older music. Now, the music thing isn't a problem because of Spotify, but there isn't an equivalent Spotify for films. So they fall out of favour, nobody watches them, and anything before like the year 2000 might as well not exist to a new generation of people. And you don't want that to happen. So yeah, that was just a long and extended rant on what should happen with retro gaming in the future, really.
Indeed. There is something, I was going to cover this last week, and won't cover it this week because I've got a couple of other bits I want to talk about on the positives. So we might talk about it next week. But there's a YouTuber called Lady Decade who talks a lot about retro systems and everything, and really talks about bootleg versions of stuff that, you know, and what it's like in other countries and stuff like that. She's brilliant.
Yeah, she's really good.
She done a video. Yeah, she done a video recently talking about the gatekeeping that's going on in the retro community at the moment. And I want to chat about it because she really let loose on some of the people and the toxicity that's in there as well. So we'll chat about that next week because I think it's a very interesting discussion to have.
It is. As opposed to this one that I just went on about.
Oh, no, it's all good. You talk about it. So you're someone who I consider who's great for the retro community because you love it and you want everyone to love it and everyone to experience it in their own way. You don't care whether I'm playing... If I went and played... not Metal Slug, what was it you were talking about? Mega Man. If I went to play Mega Man in a minute on a 4K TV via an emulator... that had a bit of lag to it and I was enjoying it, you don't care.
Nope, not at all.
But there's some people that would go, that's not right. And they wouldn't say it as pleasant as that. So as I said, as we were saying about boss rush mode, still part of this conversation, bloody hell. As we were talking about boss rush modes, look, they're fine, you can enjoy them. We don't like them in this fashion, but if you like that as part of the game, that's great. We just don't like it as part of the game, and we would like it as an optional. But we get why, at the same time, that hasn't happened and why some people like it how it already is. That's all fine. Anyway, that's a preview into next week. Please don't not tune in. So, to finish off, we'll talk about a couple of games very quickly that I played, because I decided, I like tinkering, Stu, you know this.
I do.
So I decided, right, I've got 2 projects for my Steam Deck at the moment because I can't do hardware tinkering. So I basically tried to have all my artwork redone on the capsule artwork. So they got like a single colour, ideally white logo at the top on a background with like maybe a screenshot of the game, or someone's done their own custom artwork to put there and stuff like that. So everything's got a bit of unity to it. I just think it looks really, really cool. So it looked almost like a bit of a Criterion Collection type stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I love the old Criterion Collection DVDs were amazing.
Yep.
Anyway, that's what I kind of like doing. So that's one of my projects, and I'm going through. I've got 2,000 odd games that I've got to go through, so it's going to take a while. And then the ones that I can't find via Steam Grid DB, I'm then going to do my own. But then I know what's going to happen. I'm going to do my own for those. And I'll go, they look better than the ones that are already on Steam Grid DB, and then just go and do them all. Follow me on Steam Grid DB. There's probably going to be 2,000 odd games, and if you've got any requests, drop them to me. Anyway,
sweet.
Yeah. Also, I've got to do this and make sure I can do it at times where my eyes aren't terribly bad, because I keep forgetting that I can't spend hours and hours and hours at a computer anymore. Anyway, the other thing I started doing was I then started going, right, I'm going to have a couple of collections on my Steam Deck and on Steam. That's my completed collection, my abandoned collection, and my kind of parked games collection. So I can organise what I'm playing a bit more. So I went through all 2,000 games, and I saw that I've only completed 61 of my 2,000 games.
Excellent.
And that's not even on Steam. So I've got like the 3 modern Tomb Raiders on Steam, but I've only completed one of those on my Steam account. The others were completed like on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
And so on. So I was like, this is not good. So I've challenged myself that by the end of this year, I want to get to triple figures of completed games on Steam. Whether I complete them on Steam, whether I complete them elsewhere, don't care. I can then pop that game into my completed section, get that up to triple figures. So, done a few, but two I want to talk about. One is called The Last Campfire, which came out at the back end of 2021, and it's from Hello Games, who were famous for Joe Danger. Nothing else. They didn't make any other games that they overpromised on and underdelivered on.
No,
Joe Danger. Joe Danger 2. Both brilliant, by the way. Remaster those Hello Games. Bit of quality of life improvements. They are, honestly, back in the days. Sorry, Hello Games back in those days were brilliant. Sean Murray was very chatty with everyone. I had loads of email chats with Sean Murray back in the days, and then he kind of, what happened with No Man's Sky sent him a bit reclusive in a way.
Well, it would.
Which was a shame. Yeah, it was a shame. Honestly, a lot of people give him hate, and a lot of people started to compare him to Peter Molyneux. No, he was just a guy who was very passionate about what he did and overpromised and just couldn't back out of it. I've been there before where I've said stuff and said I could do stuff or whatever, and then not been able to back it up. I get it, but remake Joe Danger. Anyway, purely because it's unsupported on the Steam Deck. So just God, Sean, get on it. But anyway, they brought out at the end of 2021 the last Campfire, and it came out of absolute nowhere. And instead of being the grandiose experience of No Man's Sky, it's a very short, personal, emotional story. That's like this exploration thing full of puzzles, and it's got a wonderful narration to it. And it's only about 5 hours long, or maybe 6 to 7 hours if you try and find all the hidden secrets and stuff like that. And I completed it over about 3-4 nights, just playing an hour and a bit each time. And it's got this amazing narration. It's kind of this person who's got this Scandinavian style voice, but really softly spoken. It almost feels like it's a cross between Finnish and Norwegian, the accent, and it just works really, really well. It's just this hint of Scandinavian in there. Honestly, it's really good narration to it. And it's just this joyful story almost about limbo, what happens in limbo and trying to find your way home. And it's just utterly, utterly beautiful. And I completed that. And if you get a chance, honestly, just play it. Again, it's another one I don't want to say too much on because it's all about the discovery. I think you can get it for very, very cheap at times in sales. But oh my God, it is so, 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 so good. Wonderfully beautiful game. Have you ever played it or seen it, or?
I've seen it, but I've not played it. No. Is it mainly like puzzle game?
It's not puzzly. So the puzzles might be, one of them's almost like a point and click type puzzle where you turn up at this, it's fairly annoying. So you turn up at this lake, and there's a fisherman and a frog there, and the fisherman needs something to sort of teach you how to fish. And it's but you haven't got it there, and there's a frog that's in the way and stopping you progressing, so you have to kind of go and get something else to then take to the frog, which will take you somewhere else, which will then unlock something else that you can give to the fisherman. It's not convoluted at all. It's light puzzling. There's nothing there where you get stuck for ages. It is wonderful, and that you can accidentally I accidentally stumbled on something I needed for another puzzle, but I had already collected it. So where it would try, the idea of it might be to try and send you back, it doesn't punish you if you find something early, and it doesn't break the game at all. So there is puzzle, but I wouldn't call it a puzzle game. Right, cool.
Well, it looks beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it is, and it just plays so, so well. And it's it made me smile. It's, there's elements of it where I'm going, I don't know if this should be making me smile, because it feels like it should be maybe telling a more somber story, but it just made me smile. It's beautiful. And it's worth it for the payoff at the end, because the payoff had a tear in my eye, because it's a beautiful payoff.
Lovely. Well, I've just had a look now, and you can get it from Humble for £2.27 or Green Man Gaming for £2.28.
Do you know what? It's worth the $2.28, Stu.
Nice.
It's worth the extra penny. It's obviously I can't remember when I got it, or how I got it, whether it's in a bundle, whether I got it on Steam in a sale. I don't know. It's, let's say, 5 to 6 hours long. If you're paying the full tenner or whatever it is for it, it's worth it. If you get it for a sale for £2-3, then it's a no-brainer.
Lovely.
So
excellent.
There you go, Stu. That's what, £15 so far I've cost you.
Yeah, probably more. And also there's that monitor, so yeah, it's going to be an expensive month, I think.
And the other game I completed was Spider-Man Miles Morales. Because I was gifted quite a few games at Christmas, part of the Steam Secret Santa, wonderfully, because I couldn't actually take part, and it blew my mind. And I thought, I've not actually played any of these properly yet. So I went, do you know what? Spider-Man Miles Morales. Let's get it played out the way, because I've just completed the last Campfire, so this will be a bit longer. It might last me a bit longer. I completed it in 3 days. It is so good. It's taken everything that's good about Spider-Man and refined it. You've got, I think it's only like really concentrates on like Harlem in New York. So it's not all of New York or anything like that. So it kind of localizes it all to Harlem and maybe some surrounding areas. There's still all the collectathon bits to do and the like the crimes and everything, but they're not as over the top. The thing I found with the original Spider-Man was, as the game got further, it got increasingly difficult in a way that seemed a bit convoluted. And it was like, the side missions that it's trying to do are trying to actually halt me from progressing the story, and I didn't want that. So I was like, I've got to do these side missions just to clear out these annoying buggers that are in my way. This doesn't do that. So you could progress, I think, the main story of Spider-Man Miles Morales without touching any side stuff that is optional side. There are some side bits you have to do because they're part of the main story, because that's how it introduces them. And there's some bits you have to do, and it was just, but it's 7.5 hours worth of gameplay. Story is brilliantly done. Instead of being this over-the-top everything story that's world-threatening, instead it's a very localised story again. It's very important. It tells a really interesting story about how they're willing to, corporations are willing to test things or do things to black communities and the lesser communities, like poorer communities and stuff like that, that they wouldn't otherwise do. So it's very clever in how it tells the story. And what it does really well, villains in it, quote unquote, aren't villains. There's nuance to them, and you kind of go, yeah, I get that. I get why this is happening. And you get Crisis of Confidence stuff going on. It's really nailed the Spider-Man and the Miles Morales stuff. And it's just brilliant. The pacing of it is the best one yet. And if Spider-Man 2 doesn't take more cues from Miles Morales when that comes out over the original Spider-Man, they're missing a trick, because, it's wonderful. But what escalates it above any other Spider-Man game I've ever played, and I'm going back to some of the classic PS1 games, which are brilliant in their own right, you can unlock, obviously, the different skins. And one of those skins is a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse skin.
Nice.
Yes. So I played 75% of the game with that.
Excellent.
And this is the best thing. You can put the skin on and the game plays and it's just a skin, which is great. And you get the suit, which is wonderful. Or you can forego a couple of, like, mods on the suit which help you in the game, to give you better timing windows and stuff like that, to basically have Miles Morales move at half the frame rate.
Nice.
Like it does in the film.
Does in the film, yeah.
And I just played the entirety of the rest of the game with that on.
Wow.
And what I now want is, where's my Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse game?
Yeah.
Because where's my I Need a Spider-Gwen add-on for this? Use this world. Just use this world. I've said it before, because this reuses New York really well and cuts it down. Reuse this world. Make me a Spider-Gwen game, please.
Yeah, that would be
because
brilliant.
it's just so good. It's so good, and it's like there's another one you could do where I kept it on, but it's not as good. But as you punch enemies and stuff like that, you get like the cartoon comic book noise images come up, so the bam and the boom and stuff like that. All that pops up as well, and it's just like, it's like playing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Nice. And
it's just brilliant. The only thing that's a shame is that they couldn't do the actual Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales character model for the face and everything, and it's the game model. But hey, I'm not complaining. Yeah.
Nice. That they did that with Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage and the other one. Oh, what was the other one called? Doesn't matter. Back in the day, they had that Biff Pow stuff appear.
Yeah.
And I always liked that. And they did comic book panels as well. And if they could add like comic book panel transitions as well into cutscenes and stuff, that would be in the modern Spider-Man games. That'd be really cool. But I suppose most people coming to the games now know Spider-Man from the films, so it wouldn't have the same impact. But no, that's brilliant. Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
Just for those of you who will complain, I've said about it. So obviously in the film, the half frames movement thing disappears when he discovers and believes in his own powers, and he goes to the full 24 frames rather than the 12 frames per second movement. I don't care. It's iconic. So I am aware technically it's not right to have the half frame stuff in the game, but you can turn it off. So if you want to be particularly, you can turn it off. But I love it because it's that iconic to me.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah. Is the new film out this year?
Yes, me and Edith are going on a daddy-daughter date to go and watch it.
Fantastic.
She needs a new Spider-Gwen outfit, actually, because I think her other one might be a bit too small.
Well, it's been years since the first one came. Anyway, yeah, no, it's great. I'm going to be buying Miles Morales at some point soon, yeah. Great stuff.
It's on sale on Steam at the moment, by the way.
Yeah, I just haven't got any money.
No, you keep spending it. I keep recommending stuff and you keep buying hardware. Stop buying hardware, Stu. Buy what I tell you to buy.
Okay, Dad.
But yeah, but on that, honestly, create yourself a target. Give yourself little goals for games, because to be honest, there's not much coming out in the AAA space where I'm going must have. You've got loads of great games, especially if you've got a Steam Deck. You've had Steam for a number of years. You've probably got tons of great games. Give them some love, because there's some stuff I otherwise would have ignored that I'm glad I've found again.
Yeah, that's great.
Give it some love. That's how I'm going to shut up now, Stu. I'm going to shut up.
No, that's a good thing to do, yeah, because there's some stuff that you pick up, play a little bit, and then you go, oh, that's good, and then somebody else comes along and you forget all about it. Yeah, I do that not all the time, but I do it enough that it's a problem. So I will go back through my collection and see if there's anything worth picking up again. But whilst we're doing that, and until next time, follow us on all the socials, view all of our content on the website, join our Discord if you want to chat about video games or anything mental health related and anything in between. And until next time, stay safe and stay sane.